What's up, guys, and welcome back to another Football Manager video. Now, I haven't said FM 2022 because for me, I'm going to tell you something you absolutely should have to do in Football Manager 2023 ahead of the new game. Now, it's going to be the use of inverted wingbacks and halfbacks. I'm going to go into some tactical analysis on what the roles do in synchronization with each other, how important they are, and what they can do for your team for Football Manager 2023. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like it and make sure you subscribe as well. So yeah, I'm going to give you the exact definition of the inverted wingback and the halfback first. Then I'm going to jump into myself, who's going to talk about it from a tactical point of view and what that actually means. So by definition, Football Manager definition, the inverted wingback has the function of a defensive standard fullback or wingback. However, when a normal wingback offers width, the inverted wingback, if he has a player ahead of him, will tuck into midfield and fill in the space for players around him. There's no teammate ahead of him, he'll still bomb forward like a traditional wingback, but if there isn't, he will drift into the middle and create as much space as possible while giving defensive support. On to the halfback. The halfback, by definition, looks to serve a role between a sweeper and a defensive midfielder. The halfback drops deeper than the standard midfielder in possession and looks to offer an outlet quickly for recycling possession and offering protection against the counter-attack. Now, what does all that mean? I'm going to jump into myself, who's going to sit there and explain from a tactic point of view what that means and how that can impact your team in a positive way for FM 2023. So then, as you would have seen in this video, I'm going to be talking about why I think you guys should use the halfback and inverted wingback roles, in Football Manager 2023 and why I will be. Now, I played around with them a lot, I've experimented with them a lot, and I want to show you guys what they do. You've heard the Football Manager definition. I want to show you guys what they actually do, which is why you see the lovely tactics board, which I've had in the background of quite a few of my videos. You can see that now on the screen, and I'm going to be explaining to you about the player movements and how that actually benefits your team going forward and defensively. And then I'll show you some examples in Football Manager, I'll show you some pass maps, I'll show you some chance creation, so you guys can gauge an understanding of why I think these roles are so important. So you've got your two standard centre backs, got your halfback, and in fact, for the purpose of this video, the halfback is going to be yellow and the two inverted wing backs are going to be blue, right? Just so you guys know what players I'm referring to. So you've got your halfback and your two inverted wing backs. So in a normal standard 4-3-3, let's move these back. You've got you got two wingers, your striker, two central midfielders, defensive midfielder, and your back four, right? Now, how often are spaces left in behind if your wingers cut in? You've got the space in behind for your wing back to bomb forward, but all of a sudden you've got all this space in behind. Same again, your wing back bombs forward to provide the width. You've got all this space. The role of the halfback prevents that space. So watch this. So when you have a halfback and you're attacking, let's say your wing backs move forward, you're now in kind of a 2-1-4-4-3. Because there's a halfback, your two centre backs sit naturally more wide, and the halfback sits just in front. It might as well be a back three, but it's not quite a back three. Your halfback sits just in front, causing these two to be wide, leaving less space down the wings. So your wing backs can bomb forward and support, which is one of the duties of the inverted wing back, is to bomb forward, get wide, and create the space. Now, this is based off a narrow 4-3-3, which is what I'm playing with Liverpool at the moment, which is what I'll use to show you some of the graphics. Now, the halfback is important. Why? Because whether the halfback sits just in front of the two centre-backs or slightly further forward, it's the more mature, the more experienced player, and they dictate the play, right? You got the triangular passing in the centre-backs, triangular passing in the midfielders, the spring wide passes to your fullbacks, your balls into your attackers. The halfback is the absolute core of everything your team creates on a build-up of an attack. From that role, as I say, that allows your centre-backs to sit wider, your wing-backs to be further wide and create the space. Now, how do the inverted wing-backs fit into this? So let's say you're on the attack and you're playing with two very wide wingers. You've got Salah and Mane. They're high, they're wide. and you've got to look for the overlap, right? Now, anyone who plays Football Manager, anyone who plays Tactics knows that when if you've got a fullback here and you're on the attack and the ball's gone in through the midfield into your winger and you're looking for the overlap, you've got to wait for your wing back to get beyond, to go level, pick up the ball and go beyond, which is what you see in that situation. Now, that sometimes can take far, far too long, and I do not like overlap personally, in terms of a player holding up the ball, waiting for someone to run beyond them. I'm not a fan of it. It takes too long. It slows down the field of play, the attacker play, and I don't think it's worth it. So in this situation, when you've got high wingers and your midfielders are tucking into this space here, because typically when I play this system, I play a box-to-box midfielder and a centre midfielder on attack. In this situation, your two wing-backs, on inverted wing-back, they will look to move into that space and cover the midfield, right? So you've got a 3, you've got a 2 that are slightly further wide, but not too wide. You've then got your 2 central midfielders, and then you've got your 2 wingers and your striker on the attack. Now, as soon as your wingers are beat and someone's attacking, the wing back will push straight out because your midfielders drop back to defend. Your halfback sits in that gap, and you effectively create a complete block defensively centered around the halfback, in which your team can defend. And then for me, I play 3 narrow strikers. So in this situation, you've got passages of play constantly between the halfback out to the wing backs. For me, you could get away with playing it with normal wing backs, but I find that it gives your centre midfielders the option to move out wide if your wing backs tuck into space. It gives your midfielders the option, if your wingers are wide, to move further into space and your wing backs are covering it. It gives you so many options, both defensively and offensively. For me, it's an absolute no-brainer, but the absolute core of these roles to make this work is the halfback. I cannot stress to you enough, and you'll see it in a second, I cannot stress to you enough how important that halfback role is. Because as I say, when you're defending, you've got a complete block there. There's no space to get through comfortably in that situation. No space whatsoever. And then whether you play with wingers wide, again, you've got your triangles of play constantly, which allows you to keep the ball, move the ball up the field quicker. You've got a triangle between your halfback and your 2 centre-backs, between your halfback and your 2 midfielders, between your halfback and your 2 wing-backs, between your wing-backs, your wingers and your 2 midfielders, between your 2 midfielders and your strikers. There are so many passages of play with a system like this, and you can play it differently, right? So if you wanted to, one of the systems I've used this year has a shadow striker. So you can play the same thing again. Your width comes more from your wing-backs, but at that point, your centre-backs push out, your halfback drops deep, and you're more covered for them to drop back. If you play with 3 strikers, again, the same process. Because of the halfback dropping into that space, providing more defensive solidity, you can afford to have more attacking players. You can afford for your fullbacks to get forward. You can afford for your central midfielders to get forward. Because on the inverted wing backs, they tuck into the space. If you've got a shadow striker, you've got your 2 strikers there. And even then, more passages of play again. I'm experimenting with, it all depends on what players you've got. If you've got an attacking midfielder, great, go with a narrow. If you haven't got an attacking midfielder, don't. Go with a deep line forward, 2 strikers, which is what I'm doing with Liverpool at the moment, and it's fantastic. Now, I need to work on the more tactical side of things in the sense of the in possession, in transition, and I'm playing around with that. But in terms of these roles, for me, you absolutely have to use a halfback and you have to use inverted wing backs for Football Manager 2023. Now, I'm going to jump over to the game so I can show you guys the actual system and how that works. I'm going to show you 2 examples today, one against Sheffield United, a team we should dominate and did, and one against Real Madrid in the Super Cup, a team that you would argue is on the level of Liverpool. Now, this is proportionate, right? So the better players you have, the better the system is going to play, but also you can still work this in the lower leagues as long as your team is, you can work it in the lower leagues regardless of how good your team is. It just might take certain tweaking and extra little bits of detail to make it more efficient in the lower league. So you can see here by the heat map, which I'm circling around on my mouse now, you've got your main striker, which I believe was actually Ivan Toney at the time. You've got Diego Jota on the left and Mohamed Salah on the right. You've got your 2 central midfielders, your 2 wing backs, 2 centre backs, and your halfback. Look how much space is behind Robertson in this situation, but because I've got the halfback, as soon as he bombs forward, these guys push out, and Fabinho drops back. So let me show you guys key passes. This is in the European Super Cup against Real Madrid, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4 key passes coming from Fabinho, my halfback. You've got space for Jota out wide. You've got my wing backs putting balls in on either side. You've got the 3 central strikers, Salah putting balls in, Jota putting balls in. You know, the amount of key passes we created in this game was absolutely fantastic. And this is against a Real Madrid team that, even though the score was only 2-1, it could have been more than that. When I then go to chances we had, they're all in and around the box because you've got 3 strikers close to each other, Mbappe, Salah, and then Rodrigo de Paul. And it says half chances. A lot of these were one-on-ones that should have been scored, if I'm honest. I can't remember who actually scored our goals, but yeah, the Rodrigo de Paul chance was a sitter, and I can't believe he missed it. As for average positions with the ball, you can see what I'm talking about. Your 2 centre-backs are very, very wide. Your half-backs in between. You've got your 2 wing-backs. In this case, Tsimikas came on for the second half, but Tsimikas and Robertson's positions are identical. Your 2 central midfielders. And then Luis Diaz came on as an attacker in the second half and moved to a more defensive role, which is why he's further back. And then you've got your 3 attackers there. When they bomb forward, the half-back drops deep, and you've got a 3-4-3 in attack. Average positions without the ball. Again, you can see you've got a back 4, you've got your defensive midfielder supporting, your 2 central midfielders, and your 3 attackers again. It's a solid structure where the midfield is packed out, but the centre-backs can support the wing-backs as and when they move forward in transition. And then overall positioning, again, it's the exact same thing. The back 4, the half-back sitting between 2 very wide centre-backs, 2 central midfielders, and then your 3 attackers again. Now, if I move over to the game against Sheffield United, so I'm actually going to do 2 games. I'm going to do the Sheffield United game and the Everton game. The Sheffield United game, look at this. Look how high we are, but we've got the support of the attacking players. You've got your 2 wing-backs, your half-back protecting your centre-backs, 2 midfielders. The amount of triangles of play, like I was showing you on the tactic board, the amount of triangles of play you have between your players in this system. I actually played the central striker as Jota on a deep line forward, and the link-up play with him was absolutely fantastic. When I go to teams, and I'll show you again the same thing I did last time. I don't want all the passes on, bloody hell. Key passes, 6 key passes, but again, oh, that's for every. Sorry, that makes more sense. 20 key passes from Liverpool. Look at how many chances we're creating. You know, and this is a team where we're playing against a high line. We're playing aggressive. Passes are coming in from everywhere. And then when that is shown, then when you look at average positions again with the ball, it's the exact same structure. Your 2 centre backs, your halfback. Bearing in mind, look how transferable this system is. We're playing against a weaker team, and all of a sudden, my wing backs are high. You've got your wing back, your 2 centre midfielders. My centre midfielder on attack is even further forward, providing a link up between the 3 attacking players. And again, we scored 4 goals. You look at our scoring chances. 5 chances again, all in and around the 6-yard box. That's exactly where you want to be creating your chances. You want to be creating high percentage scoring opportunities. And this, by having the halfback and giving your attacking team the freedom to create and to score goals without the risk of being caught on the counter. You will get caught on the counter, granted. But when you've got the support and you've effectively got 3 centre-backs like that with wing-backs who track back straight away, you've got so much cover. It's unbelievable. I'll show you the clip from the Everton game, and I'm going to show you the pass map as well to show you just how important the halfback is. Now, this is Everton away at Goodison. They didn't have a single shot on target the entire game. Again, your defensive structure is the exact same. When you move over to the Everton, no clear-cut chances. Liverpool, look at the... All right, granted, this one from Jota's the edge of the box. But again, they're all in and around the 6-yard box. You're creating so many opportunities because of the way the system plays. And that comes from the defensive support. With the ball in this situation again, you've got Kanate, it's Virgil van Dijk. To be fair, Shimikas is far too deep here. I don't know why. I don't know whether I subbed him on late or what that is, but he's far too deep. You've got Fabinho. You've got your full blanket across midfield with your 2 wing backs, your 2 central midfielders, and then your 3 attackers. And then Jordan Henderson, as the box-to-box midfielder, spent more time further forward. But again, that's down to the individual player. And without the ball, it's the same structure again. You know, and then when it goes to, I go to passes again. Key passes, 14 key passes from absolutely everywhere. You know, all right, Fabinho's not as involved in this game, in this one, but he builds up the transition leading towards these clear-cut chances. And from 14 key passes, we scored 4 goals, which I think personally is really, really good. You can see here, this is the system we're playing, so I'm not lying. They were the stats, absolutely dominant. And people say, oh, you've got Mbappe, blah, 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 blah. You can put my mates playing the exact same tactic that I built with Crystal Palace right now, and he went and thumped, who was it yesterday? I believe it was Spurs 4-0. So the tactic works, the system works, and it all comes from building your team with a halfback and with 2 inverted wingbacks. Just to show you quickly as well, I've loaded up my Spurs save, which I play online with a friend, just to show you, because the pass map, I wasn't really happy with what it showed on the Liverpool save. I haven't played that system enough with that team for it to be as accurate. So this was from a 4-1 game against Fulham. I played this system for 2 years now. It has a false 9 as well as 2 strikers. You can see the structure is the exact same. You've got your 3 with your half-back, your 2 centre-backs, your 4 blanket midfield, a shadow striker this time, and then 2 strikers. Look at how John Stones, 186 passing combinations. That is outstanding. And he plays the halfback role. The only difference between this system and the other one that I play is I play with 3 strikers on that system rather than the shadow striker. The in possession and the transition stuff is ever so slightly different to fit that. You can see on this system against Leicester, we beat Leicester 5-2. Now, obviously, I'm using a shadow striker, not 3 strikers, but I'm trialing different things based on the use of the halfback and the inverted wingbacks. 11 clear-cut chances against Leicester is crazy, crazy good. When you look at passes, I hate when it does that. And you look at key passes, 23 key passes in the system. The process is the exact same thing. The half-back supports your centre-backs. Your centre-backs can cover more width. Your full-backs can get expansive. And this is what you get as a result of it. I won 5-2. All right, I need to work on... It wasn't a great game for us defensively, if I'm honest, but in terms of scoring goals, you're creating those chances. And when you're creating those kind of chances, you're bound to have success. When I look at average positions in the game against Leicester, you've got your 2 wing-backs, 2 centre-backs, your half-back. You've got your 2 central midfielders, shadow striker. My other central midfielder, I subbed off Paredes, I believe, for Fabian, or possibly the other way around. And then your 2 strikers. Obviously, this plays slightly different. I'm finding I get more fluidity from the 3 strikers than I actually do from 2 strikers and a shadow striker. But, you know, the system and the process works the same thing. And it all comes, the importance of it, I cannot stress it enough. The importance of it all comes from the shadow striker. Look at how many chances we've created. It all comes from having that shadow striker in a position to create for everybody, to defend for everybody. Not shadow striker, halfback, sorry. The halfback is so key. I cannot stress it enough. And the inverted wingbacks give you an option to cut in when those other players forward. The 2 complement each other extremely well. And for me personally, I believe it should be the foundation of all your tactics that you build in FM 2023. Let me know what you think. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. See you later.